Hi everyone, I am Ariel Lim and this is Ariel Lim Yoga. So you know who I am, you know what we're doing. Thank you for joining me on the mat today for yoga for low back release. So today's practice is all about releasing some tension, some soreness, some stiffness from the low back. If you are experiencing severe pain, you've hurt yourself, please consult a medical provider before you do any type of activity. The last thing we want is for you to get hurt on the mat. But if you're looking to do a little bit of preventative maintenance on the low back or just release some of that stiffness, soreness, if you have a desk job or you've been a little more sedentary than usual, this is the practice for you. So we'll sit up nice and tall. We'll start to settle in, feeling the hips and the thighs grow heavy here, settling into our mat. And then we'll find some space and some length in the spine as we sit up nice and tall. We're going to relax the shoulders back and down. We don't want them up by the ears. And as you find your seat, sitting up nice and tall, I want you to take a nice big inhale here and exhale, letting the day before now go, taking the time to really appreciate this moment that you've carved out for yourself to work on your low back, to do some yoga. It'll be a good time. So on our next inhale, we'll rise our hands up and overhead, start reaching up towards the ceiling, finding that space in the back, along the spinal column. Inhale, and then we'll grab the left wrist with the right hand, and on an exhale, begin to find our side body stretch here, reaching over towards the right, taking a nice deep inhale, finding breath come up through the low back, the side body, the shoulders, the arm. Try to keep that shoulder back. Take a gaze up at the ceiling, maybe. Inhale. And exhale, we'll come back to center, reaching up once again. Inhale, reaching. And exhale to grab that right wrist with the left hand and start to pull towards the left. Taking a nice deep inhale, drawing breath up through the low back, through the side body, the arm, out through the fingertips. Beautiful. Another nice deep inhale. And exhale, we'll come back to center, reaching up once again, and then we'll take a twist to the right, bringing the left hand to the right thigh or knee. Sit up nice and tall, creating length in the spine, finding space. And exhale, we'll twist from the middle of the back, gazing over the right shoulder. Inhale and exhale. Starting to let go and release. This is an excellent low back stretch here. Inhale, come back to center. We'll reach up towards the sky and then we'll take a twist to the left, bringing the right hand to the left thigh or knee. Inhale, finding a little extra space in the spinal column. And exhale to twist, to rinse, to release, to let go. Take another nice deep inhale and exhale. Maybe finding a little more depth in this twist. And on an inhale, we'll come back to center and we'll make our way to a tabletop position. Coming to all fours, we'll spread our fingers nice and wide here, relieving some of the pressure we could be building in our wrists if we dump all that weight onto our wrists. We'll have our wrists underneath our shoulders, our knees underneath our hips. Try to hug the ribs in so we're not collapsing. We're nice and active in our tabletop position. And then we're going to do some hip circles here. So I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but we want to just relieve some tension, bring some movement into the hips and the low back, And this is a great exercise for the core. So I highly recommend, if you're experiencing low back pain on a regular basis, start doing some core work. Because when you're building the core, it's helping you to support the spine, and it should relieve some of the pressure on the low back. So we're going to take that knee out and just draw circles, like we're drawing circles on the wall to the right, few in one direction, trying not to dump our weight into one side or the other, trying to keep our weight even in the shoulders. And then we'll take our circles in the other direction. However big or small they need to be to feel good. Beautiful. A couple more. And release that leg down to the mat. Maybe we'll do a couple rounds of cat-cow just to give ourselves a little bit of a break before we go to the other side. So we'll inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Maybe you wag your tail here, letting go of some of that tension in the low back. And exhale to round the spine. Bring that belly button up to the spinal column. Bring the chin to the chest. Press the ground away. Cat pose. And then just do another round on your own breath. Inhaling into your cow. And exhaling into your cat. And then we'll make our way back to tabletop. And we'll draw some circles on the left wall in one direction with the knee. Beautiful. And then we'll take those circles in the other direction. Lovely. And then bring that knee back down to the mat. We'll bring our big toes to touch. Extend our knees as wide as the mat or as wide as is comfortable. And begin to sink those hips and that booty back towards the heels. We'll start to reach forward with the fingertips. And come down with the chest for a child's pose. Bringing our forehead to the mat for a moment. Take a nice deep inhale, drawing breath into that low back. And exhale to surrender, to let go. Take another nice deep inhale, feeling the sides of the body, feeling the skin of the back stretch. And exhale to release. Lift the head and chin for a moment and walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. You can walk off of the mat here. Maybe bring the left hand on top of the right hand and come back down for a couple breaths. Really deepening our child's pose stretch. Adding a little side body stretch. Should be really nice on the low back here. Inhale. And exhale. We'll walk our way through center and come over to the left side of the mat, bringing our right hand on top of the left hand. Take a nice deep breath and exhale to release and let go here on the left. As you breathe in, feel that breath traveling through the low back and the right side body and out through the fingertips. Beautiful. We'll come back to center, make our way up into a tabletop position. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Pedal it out just for a moment. Waking up the backs of the legs. Bringing our biceps by our ears, and then we'll just find a moment of stillness here in our downward facing dog. Feeling that ideal alignment of the spine here, letting the head hang heavy. Maybe you nod your head yes. Shake it no. Beautiful. Look up between the hands and skip, hop, take as many steps as you need to the front of the mat. Forward fold. In your forward fold, clasp your opposite elbows and sway side to side, letting the head and the shoulders just sway and feel heavy here. Bring your awareness to your low back, noticing how this simple forward fold adds a beautiful stretch and release to the low back. Sometimes it's the simple moves. Beautiful. Couple more moments here, remembering to breathe. Lovely. We'll release the hands, come up for a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale to fold, and then we'll slowly come up one vertebra at a time, enjoying the journey, letting the head hang heavy until we reach our mountain posture. Adjust your leggings if necessary. Bring your feet about hips distance apart. We'll rise our arms up and overhead. The hands meet. Maybe you take a little mini back bend here. And then we'll exhale the hands to heart center. From here, we're going to lift our right heel off the mat. You may stay here, but if you want a little bit of a challenge, you can lift that foot up off the floor so your leg is bent at about a 90-degree angle. We're going to open our arms nice and wide like a big Texas T, and then we're going to turn to the right for a little bit of a twist. You can grab the outside of that right knee. The beautiful little balance challenge, but also a twist that'll help you release some tension in the low back. Inhale and exhale. We'll slowly release that foot back to the floor. Take a nice big inhale, reaching those arms up and overhead. Maybe you take another mini back bend here. And exhale the hands to heart center. We'll start to lift that left heel off the mat. Again, you could stay here to twist, or you can challenge yourself lifting that foot up off the mat, bringing your knee to a 90-degree angle here. We'll open our arms nice and wide, and then we'll turn to the left, maybe bringing that right hand outside the left knee for a little additional stability. Inhale and exhale. We'll come back to center, slowly release that foot to the floor, rise the arms up and overhead, and then we'll take a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold, and then we'll step back to a modified plank. So we'll bring our knees down and we'll lower ourselves all the way to the belly. From here, if you're feeling a little extra tenderness in your back, you may stay here in a crocodile pose, bringing your forearms on top of each other, maybe just taking a moment to rest, or you'll bend the knees and sway them side to side. But if you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch, what we're going to do is we're going to take our arms out like cactus arms here. We're going to turn onto our left side, and then we're going to bend our right foot so that the foot comes behind the left leg. Now, if you just want a mild stretch here, you could bring that foot further away from the glutes. But the closer you bring that foot to your glutes, the more of a stretch you're going to feel in the shoulders and also the low back. So pick your journey here and just take a few breaths here. Feeling that stretch, breathing into the areas that are tense, that need release. And as you exhale, let go. Just let it go. You don't need to hold on to it anymore. Beautiful. We'll come back through center and we'll take that stretch to the other side. So we'll turn onto our right side and bring that left foot behind our right leg. Take a nice deep inhale here, breathing in to the low back. Exhale to release and let go. Find a couple breaths at your own pace here. Beautiful. We'll come back through center. We'll bring our forearms to the mat and have our elbows be underneath our shoulders here. And then we'll begin to lift up for our Sphinx pose. We're pulling our chest forward as we're pulling our forearms back here for just a mini back bend. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll come back for a child's pose. This time we'll keep our knees together. We'll paint the mat with our palms and have them face up behind us, bringing our forehead to the mat, counteracting that little mini back bend. We'll take a nice deep breath, filling the body, feeling the skin of the low back stretch. And exhale, releasing, letting go of any of the tension you're carrying there. Take another nice deep inhale, just like that. And exhale, letting go, surrendering to this moment, surrendering to the sensations that come up as you breathe. Beautiful. We'll begin to come up, and then we're going to turn sideways onto our mat, extending our legs out on either side, sitting up nice and tall here. We'll inhale and rise our arms up and overhead, and then we'll go to the right, bringing our right hand to the right leg, ankle, foot, reaching over with that left arm. Try to bring the shoulder back as if you're trying to squeeze a pencil between your shoulder blades here, opening across the chest, looking up towards the sky, and just maybe pulsing a little bit, reaching towards the right. You should feel a great stretch, a great little release here, or maybe you enjoy a moment of stillness. As you breathe, you're breathing up through the hip, through the low back, through the side body, out through the fingertips. Breathing into the areas that are tense, that might be a little sore. And as you exhale, maybe finding places you can let go and release. Take another nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Beautiful. We'll slowly come back through center. Inhale to rise the arms up and overhead. And then we'll take it to the left, reaching over, letting the hand fall wherever it lands here. Opening across the chest, bringing that shoulder back, maybe gazing up at the sky. Inhale. Take a nice deep exhale. On our next inhale, you're breathing up through the right hip, through the low back, the right side body, up through the arm and out through the fingertips. Another nice big inhale, just like that. And exhale. We'll slowly come back up to center. We'll bring our legs together and face the front of our mat again. Bring a bend into the knees. Maybe you put a block or a pillow underneath the knees here. And we'll take a nice big inhale, reaching up towards the sky with the fingertips, finding space, finding length in the back. And as we exhale, leading with the chest, we'll begin to fold, letting our hands rest wherever they land today. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing up through the back, and exhale to surrender into this fold. It should feel so juicy and gorgeous in the low back here. And just breathe, just for a few moments. Like I said before in our forward fold, sometimes it's the simple postures, the simple moves that bring the most release, especially when it comes to our low back. Stretches like these done regularly can go a long way, my friends. Take another nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Slowly beginning to lift ourselves back up. We'll find a nice, comfortable seated position, any seated position of choice. Sitting up nice and tall, closing our eyes, letting the palms face the sky, gently resting on the knees or the thighs. Close the eyes here and just take a moment to notice how you feel. Take a moment to notice how your low back feels. And then take a moment to notice how your whole body feels now that you've stretched the low back. Are you sitting up a little taller maybe? Do you feel like you have a little more energy? I hope you do. Take a nice deep inhale as we rise our arms up and overhead. The palms meet, and as we exhale, we'll bring the hands to heart center. Taking a final moment to extend gratitude to ourselves for coming to the mat today, for doing something good for our bodies, for taking care of our bodies and our minds and our spirit. Open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today for this yoga for low back release. I am feeling good. I've been under the weather, as you probably know by now, for the last few days. So I've been a lot more, sedentary. I've been in bed a lot, and I really needed that low back stretch. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And as always, from my heart to yours.